have selective hearing. When someone is like, yo, you could never be like, selective hearing. Because that's not the energy that you need in your life. Dumelang kaofela, ke nna Mankobetje Mokaka, and welcome to my YouTube channel where we are all about personal growth and mindset shifts, honey. So on today's video we'll be talking about mindset. So I realized obviously that most of the things that I talk about or refer to, or the concepts that I try to bring across or explain or articulate, whatever you want to call it, are very abstract. So I was like, you know what, let's take it back. Let's take it to the thing that holds all of these concepts together. Let's take it back to where, where it all started, which is mindset. Mindset, I Googled it, and this is what Google says. So it says mindset is an established set of attitudes held by someone. So it's basically like, in a nutshell, you could call it a belief. It's the beliefs that you have about a certain thing or that you have about life. They say that there's two types of mindset. You get the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. So in the fixed mindset, it's those people who believe certain things are innate, like you're born with them. So things like having talent or being great or whatever, they just feel like it's either you're great or you're not. It's either you can be successful or you won't be. It's almost, to them, they feel like it's something that's inbuilt, like your skin color or your eye color. They feel like it's the same when it comes to success, it's the same when it comes to, life or any other thing. Then you have the growth mindset, which is those people who believe you can never know how successful you can be until you try, until you work hard. So you have those two types of mindset, and it doesn't necessarily mean you are locked in one mindset. You could have a fixed mindset regarding certain things, and you could have a growth mindset regarding other things. So I think each person has a little bit of both. So our beliefs or the attitudes that we have towards life affect our life experience. What I believe about life and what I believe about myself and what I believe about the world around me is essentially my life experience, which is why I feel like a mindset is so important, because it's literally life changing. Like, if you change your mindset, you literally change your life. Like, it might sound a little bit corny, like, but it literally is that, because the way that you experience life is based mainly on what you believe, is based mainly on your reactions. So I hope you're still with me. So a mindset has a lot of things affecting it. Let me put this down here. I hope it doesn't fall. A mindset has a lot of things affecting it. So one of the biggest things that affects a person's mindset is the things that they hear, especially in their childhood, especially from people that matter to them, like teachers or parents, especially parents. So the things that you have heard in your childhood are the things that will influence how you view life. They will influence what you think about yourself and what you think about the world around you. So from a young age, so I'm going to make an example with, let's say, schoolwork. From a young age, if a child grows up and the family or the mom or the dad or whoever might be keeps saying to the child, you're so smart, you're so excellent, you're great and whatever, that child will automatically start behaving that way. That child will just not necessarily get smarter, but because they believe they're smarter, they will start producing those results. They internalize, like a sponge, you internalize what you're being told. So the same goes if you tell a child that, when you are nothing, if you tell a child, you're not going to amount to anything in life, you're not great, you're whatever, and you beat a child down, they internalize that, and they go forth in life carrying that thing. They go forth in life internalizing that thing and essentially living it out. So the things that you heard, especially in your childhood, are the things that can influence or potentially have influenced you the most in how you view life. So how does that tie in with your current life? Why do I care about what people told me when I was little? So I have this thing where I ask myself, why do I prefer certain things? Or why do certain things make me mad? Or why do I like certain things? Or why do certain things make me happy? And I could almost always trace it back to my childhood. So it's literally like you are where you are what you are, or you think what you think because of the things that happened in the past. Make sense? So do take the time. Stuff like love languages. Ask yourself, why do I prefer a certain love language over the other? And you might find that it's because some people say the opposite, but for me, my love languages are my love languages because that's how my grandparents showed me love. Make sense? So you end up seeing that, oh, the reason why my love language is physical touch is because when I was young I got a lot of hugs, or I got a lot of kisses, or whatever the case might be, and that's how you ended up interpreting love. I hope I'm making sense, child, and I'm not rambling. That's how you ended up interpreting love. So the things that you heard in your childhood somehow have manifested in your adult life. The importance of linking your childhood with your adult life is that you can actually dissect your life and see which parts of you are actually yours. So which part of you is actually yours, in the sense that you might find that you think you like something, but it's just because it was done, and when you actually dissect it, you don't like it that much. Or you might think something irritates you, but that's just because the person who maybe brought you up just didn't like that thing, and you just ended up being the same. And it's fine if you look back at those characteristics or traits and whatever, and you realize, oh, I'm such a pessimistic person, but it's because maybe the people I was with, or my aunts and my uncles, or whoever was with me when I was younger or at a younger age, used to be very pessimistic, and I internalized or I adopted that behavior or that mindset. And it's okay to look back at certain traits that you have, at certain mindsets that you have, kind of as best as you can trace them to where they come from, and it's up to you to decide what you keep and what you check out. That's the importance of realizing the impact that your childhood has a big impact, obviously, and I'm not going to go into it now, but that's the importance of realizing how impactful a childhood can be on you, and how impactful your childhood is on your current mindset, on how it affects your relationships, your outlooks on relationships, be it friendships or romantic relationships, or just the relationship that you might sometimes have with authority. You get people who just defy authority, and that might come from their childhood, those type of things. And once you've dissected your childhood, then you can be like, okay, I realized I like this because this person used to do this, or because this person used to say this to me, or because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or because I was exposed to this. But at this point, you are responsible for you. Then you can decide this characteristic, it gets to go, and you work on it. It's not an easy thing, but you work on it. Or this characteristic, I'm glad that I have it. I'm going to keep it. I grew up being told that I'm a hard worker, so it's fine. I know where it comes from. I know, so I'm going to internalize it, and I'm going to make it a part of me. Or I grew up feeling like I'm not enough, but I see that was not me. It's not that I'm not enough. That other person said I'm not enough, and they don't define me. So that's something that's a mindset that I need to get rid of. And on that note, it's important to realize that people project. People project, and people project a lot, and you end up suffering the consequences of their own outlook on life. So sometimes people might feel like something is beyond their depth. You might discuss the fact that you have a dream of, achieving a certain thing, and someone could be like, you could never. Oh, you could never achieve that thing. Don't. And it's not that you could never, it's because maybe they believe they can't do it. The limitations that they have set for themselves, they put that on you. Don't let someone else's limitations become your reality. Don't do that. Like, people project all the time, and it's easy to fall into that or to become a victim of that, because what happens is, when you are uncertain about certain things, let's say you're uncertain about starting a new business venture, of course it makes sense that you're gonna talk to your friend or your mom or whoever is closest to you. As it is, you're scared. As it is, you are full of doubt by yourself. As it is, at this point, you need somebody who will be encouraging you, who will be saying, no, go after it, you've got this, then you get somebody who's like, oh no, you could never achieve that, oh no, that's too hard to achieve. Then you are in a vulnerable state as it is, then of course you're gonna fall victim of that. Then what you need to do is you forgive yourself for that. You forgive yourself for that. You forgive yourself of being a victim. You want to get to a point where you even realize when someone else is projecting. But in order to realize that someone else is projecting, you need to know yourself. You need to know yourself, because if you don't know yourself, when other people project, you'll just be like, yeah, And that brings me to my other point, that with mindset, you need to be very, very, very selective. There is this thing that they teach you in biology in high school. They teach you about the cell, right? For those of you who did biology, you'll remember. They teach you about the cell, and they teach you about the cell membrane. Then one thing that they'll tell you about the cell membrane is that it is highly selective. It will allow certain things through, water or whatever. It won't allow certain molecules through. There's certain molecules that it will allow through, there's certain molecules it won't. And I feel like you need to be the same. You need to be very, very selective about what you allow. Because remember now, you're no longer like a naive kid who just, whatever they get told, they internalize it. Now you are old. Now you can analyze. Now you can assess. Now you can decide what's good for you and what's not good for you. So be very, very selective about what. Have selective hearing. If people say things that you feel like, that is not me, and you feel like, that's not me, block it out. It's not an easy. The things that I speak about, they're not easy to develop. They take time, but when you realize them, when you recognize them, you start and you get those wheels in motion. Have selective hearing. When someone is like, yo, you could never be like, selective hearing, because that's not the energy that you need in your life. But in order to have selective hearing, you need to spend time with yourself. You need to know what's good for you. You need to know who you are. You need to know where you're going. You need to be, a girl must be focused and nothing should disturb the girl. That type of vibe. You need to be here with yourself. That way, Elsa says those things. You need to be here. That way, nobody can derail you, because you know who you are. You know where you're going. And when you know who you are and you know where you're going, even when people say, hey, I think you might be out of your depth, and they come from a place of love, you'll know when they're telling the truth. And you'll know when people are projecting, you'll know the difference. And that's the beauty of just analyzing your mindset, analyzing the attitudes that you have, analyzing the beliefs that you have, analyzing, why do I believe what I believe? Why do I behave in the manner that I behave? Why am I scared of love? Why am I scared of relationships? All those things, you can somehow link them to your childhood or to a past situation. Your mindset determines your life. So essentially what you're saying is, anything that affects your mindset, anything that you allow to affect your mindset, it ultimately affects your life. So it's important to be surrounded by people who are speaking life over you, people who affirm you. The things that you hear need to be conducive, man. They need to grow you in one way or the other. If they don't do any of those things, then you need to start being like, okay, how is this contributing to my mindset? Don't just think, if you are surrounded by someone who's negative, right? Someone who's always like, I'm tired, life is so hard. This person, no matter what, day in, day out, they're always negative. They'll never say anything wrong. Even though you feel like, no, I'm positive, they will never affect me. At one point or the other, they will, because you're constantly hearing this thing. You're constantly hearing that life is hard. You're constantly hearing that life is tiring. You're constantly hearing that you are tired. You're constantly hearing that you must fight in life. You constantly hear, whatever you constantly hear, you will believe. Whatever you constantly hear, you will believe. So I just want you to be very, very, very careful of what you consume. What you consume makes up your mind, makes up your mindset, influences the attitudes that you have, the beliefs that you have, which ultimately influences your life. With what I've said, I think it's important to reiterate the importance of protecting your mindset and having, the same way that you're mindful, hopefully to a certain extent, of what you put in your body, the same should go for your brain or your mind. You should be very mindful of what you consume. You should be very mindful of what you listen to, because those things truly can change your mind. It's like if you start listening to podcasts, for example, inspirational podcasts, and you start listening to audiobooks, and you start being surrounded by people who are positive, you are more likely to also be positive. And the opposite also applies. at the age that you are, where you can reflect, where you can assess, where you can change your life, it's important to know that you are the center role. It's important to know that right now, the attitudes that you hold and the beliefs that you hold about life are up to you. Because if you analyze why you believe the things that you believe, if you analyze your behavior and you link it to where it comes from, in some cases you might not be able to link it, and that's okay. But if you become very cognizant of your attitude, of your attitudes and your behavior and the perspective that you hold towards life, then you will be able to change those things. You'll be able to be like, I don't like this, I like that. And I hope all of this made sense somewhere, somehow. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're all having a good day. Bye.